Once you retire, your metabolism changes. Everything goes to your stomach, but other than that, we'll try. He mentioned Argentina. So, you know, in these despedidas, we have to talk about origins as well. And it's absolutely true. At the beginning of the myth, pretty close to the beginning, there's a few of us, Mr. Nakamura, Fernando Uno.
I'm Uno?
You're Uno. You're much better than Fernando Dos, who and whatever. But anyway, so somebody says to me, there's some Italian socialist around. Thinking that would stop me, but that was, to me, that's a very good thing. Socialists. So, and you know, he seems to be an interesting guy, and blah, blah, blah. So, we meet. I think you probably met either Keisuke or Fernando.
No. He was already
He preceded
here.
you.
It's
Okay.
not my fault.
That
He was
probably...
already
Okay, then that solves that. Then that solves it. Yes, it was Keisuke. So Keisuke gave you a good recommendation, but somebody else said, yeah, but he's an Italian socialist. Come on. So okay. So those who've been here a long time will know. So I said, oh, you know. So we talked, and I said, oh, this guy's fantastic. And so in the tradition of the bid. And when we were young and we were not independent, we had to pray, you know, to them.
for the best.
They said, well, you can't hire that guy, he's Italian, and Italy doesn't belong to the myth. And so, yes, Japanese could, or American, or Spaniard, although you hadn't come yet. And so there were about 30 countries that you could hire people, but not limited. No Italian nationals. So I said, well, you can't hire him. And I said, yeah, come on, he's an Argentinian. I know. If anybody asks, nobody's going to ask, but if they ask, it's true. Tell him he's Argentinian. He's got dual citizenship. So, turned out, as I found out later, he's not Argentinian. He's Brazilian.
How come?
Well, I mean, I got to be careful because people got to go home and stuff, and you know, I can talk forever, as you know. But he gets hired, and then I go with him on a trip to Brazil. Figuring my Spanish isn't any good, we'll see how my Portuguese is. So anyway, we go to Brazil, and we go to 3 or 4 ministries. And this guy, you know, you get pictures up of the president of the country and whoever the minister is. But he's being treated in these ministries like he's one of these guys. In fact, I said to somebody, where's Claudio's picture? That's right, I did say it, didn't I? Where's his picture? Come on. Because he was so tied into Brazil. But it was really more than this. The reason why you hire, at least the reason why I would hire somebody, and he's a prime example of this. Everybody's smart. I mean, nobody's going to get a job in one of these places if they're not smart and well-credentialed and all of that. But you need more, in my opinion, you need to be more than smart, and I think this is what the myth is about, was and is about. You have to have a connection. Macro policy is one thing, but the world needs as much micro as it needs macro, and the myth is micro when it's on the ground and it's doing projects. The world has a lot of think tanks. As I sometimes say, we could use a few more do tanks. So do the projects, test out the ideas, take the risks, and that's what the myth was set up to do. If it fails, it fails. I mean, I used to say, well, if it fails 3 or 4 times in a row, well, we have to talk about it. But the first couple of times, it's okay to take the risks. I mean, at one point, I was thinking we should change the name from the Multilateral Investment Fund to the Multilateral Innovation Fund, because that really should it be. But then MIF got changed to OMIN, and I don't know what happened. nephew. Pac-Man. So anyway. But it doesn't make any difference if it's MIF or Fomin or the IDB, it's doing the projects, huh? And this guy had not only the intelligence, but the ability to relate to people and to take those risks. He had something else, which at one point I was calling the Cortelese grant program, in which no matter what it was, within 10% for something or other. And so for a few years, well, it's a Cortelese project, so it always has 10% of grant for something. But I think we stopped that at some point.
No, he made actually.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
So that's the key to MIF then, and I think MIF now. You're all smart, but willing to take risks, willing to do projects, willing to test things out. That's why the MIF is, unique is a word that's much overused, as I one time had to say to Sandy Dorville. Unique is, I remember this.
Unique is only one, right?
Unique is
you
only
can't
one.
Very unique.
You can't be more unique, you can't be most unique, you can only be unique. The MIF is unique. Nobody's got this charter. Nobody's got this possibility of the grants and anything.
Not even us.
That's it. Maybe not any longer. So anyway, I got a note asking me to come to Washington. I haven't been in Washington for more than a year. My eyes aren't any good, and it was to go to the IMF, but I thought it was to come to the MIF. So the IMF is paying for this, but
The dark side of the force.
you get mixed up at my age. So, and I know because I spent some time with the World Bank, and I know what's going on over there. They're just finishing their 5th reorganization in 25 years. And so by this point, they're reinventing.
Kafka.org.
Yeah. So they're reinventing everything. The stuff they did 15 years ago, and then they threw that out back to this. So that's what's happening. But, so I'm thinking about this. There's a reorganization every 5 years. They have a new president of the World Bank. So every 5 years they have a reorganization. At the BID, we don't have presidents every 5 years. So our reorganizations last 5 years, and we'll see what happens towards the end of it, but not something to joke about, I guess.
Yeah, we're not laughing.
If you're on the outside, it'll work its way through. So at times like this, and what I like to say is that the MIF, Fomin, the BID, was lucky to have you.
Okay.
And you were lucky to have the MIF.
Absolutely.
So, as we all move on, it's up to the rest of you, young and old. You're all mafiosos and mafiosas. You need to keep this place going. I know it's hard. You need to keep this place going with the unique characteristics that it has to make a difference for people in Latin America and the Caribbean, El Caribe. Do that because nobody ever says El Caribe, it's Latin America, and somebody from the Caribbean says, oh, what about us? Oh, El Caribe. So, we're lucky to have had you. And I just wanted to say, now, I know that's not Marcelo because he must be much older, right? Come over here. Oh yeah, last one. Come over here. I'm thinking about your son at the moment, and I'm going to use you because you made
as a prop.
One of the most enjoyable things we ever did, and some of the parents will remember this, we would, after hours, or maybe even during hours,
During
we would
hours,
run, yeah, we would run around the perimeter.
That was during ours.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Long hours anyway,
Yeah.
so.
And the fastest kid was your kid.
Still is.
Still is. So, this is the future. Do you remember? You probably don't. I know you're not. I left the BID. My despedida was about 7.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And It was an early warning of climate change, and we had a party in Northern Virginia, and it was about 142 degrees. And my final official act, pretty much, other than the donors committee meeting in which I was breaking up in tears, was I let kids like you push pies into my face.
In the party, yes.
Did you do one to me?
Actually, my son did it. Actually, he was kind of timid, but then he liked it.
I know he did. He said, oh, this is empowering. So,
Basically,
that's
yes.
the final word. I used to say, the myth puts fun, F-U-N, into dysfunctional. Because it's all dysfunctional, and that's what we need to continue. Okay. Can I have that bag? Thank you. Mr. Nakamoto, in honor, my daughters, my wife, everybody who knows me has been asking me to do this for years. This is a bag which I purchased in Italy the first time I went to Italy with the myth. So this bag is 20-something years old. I've had it repaired in Nairobi, in Bangkok, on Cape Cod.
Oh my God.
Still alive.
It's a wonderful bag. Let me see if
Yeah.
there's any coins in there. No, there's no coins.
But look at
Yeah, oh, I know. No. So, in honor of this Despedida, back to Italy.
To fix it in Italy.
It was great. It was great. Well,
So I need to put
yeah, very